Hello and welcome back to my channel. First, I would like to apologize for the lack of uploads recently. In all honesty, I was suffering from a bit of burnout and I just needed to not work at the weekends for a week or two. Unfortunately, as it is now, like the weekends and the evenings is when I get to work on YouTube, but I also have been spending a lot of time doing volunteer work in the evenings, so it's just kind of fallen back. I've also just been quite exhausted after a summer of ecology work and just needed a bit of a break, and that's always hard for me to take because I never want YouTube to be the thing that I don't have time for, you know. And then in the back of my head, if I have taken a weekend off, it just means that I'm not uploading, and that doesn't make me feel great either. So I'm trying to be better at that, but I do apologize for the lack of uploads. I hope that you're all doing really well, and I appreciate you coming by, especially when the uploads are a bit erratic. However, today we have an exciting video, I think, that has been in the works for quite a while now, because of all the free time that I have. So basically, I haven't done a houseplant tour, right? Houseplant tours are a lot of work, and there will be one coming, but I'm not going to say when because I don't want to disappoint anyone. I will do it when I have the time to do it. However, before I wanted to do that, I wanted to kind of revamp the plant room. Because since we moved, which was at the beginning of the year, I haven't really shown you fully around the plant room yet, but I didn't want to do that until I'd spent time kind of, you know, making it the way I want it to be. And it's just been a bit of a crazy year, but periodically over the last couple of weeks, I have had a bit of time to think about and plan some of the updates to the room. I've decided that waiting until it's fully finished is not going to happen because I don't know when that's going to be. But I wanted to kind of just document what my thought process is for each part of the change and just show you how it is going along. And then when I get to do a bit more in the future, I maybe film another video on what I do about that. So the first thing I had really done was the branch. So I'm going to show you footage of that now and kind of talk you through it. So I kind of knew that in the plant room, the shelving that I have behind me is great and is tall, and that's the shelving I had in the previous place that we lived, but it just wasn't really utilizing the kind of upward space towards the ceiling, and I was kind of thinking of ways that I could do that. And one thing I've always wanted to do is hang a branch from the ceiling. So I kind of went about doing that. I had a couple of branches that, you know, from my branch stash when I collect them. If you want to know how I collect them and what I do have a video on that, so I will link that here. So yeah, so I was kind of thinking, oh, will I like drill hooks into the ceiling? And then I was like, but then I don't know, you know, we're in a rental and I don't know where wires and things are. So I kind of thought, you know what, let me just try to do this with command strips. If you're not familiar, they're kind of like these sticky things. They come in all sorts of arrangements, from hanging up picture frames to hooks and connectors and all of these things that are really good for rental properties because the sticky part just peels off and it's like there was nothing there before. Now obviously you could just fill in little holes with polyfiller or something, but I don't want to have lots of that to have to do when we're leaving. So I've used these kind of hooks that you'll see, and so I wasn't really sure what to do about distributing the weight of the branch. Now the branch is super dry. It's been dry for like a year indoors. There's no rot. It's a really light branch, but it is big. So I kind of wanted to evenly distribute the weight across 4 hooks, and then my husband had a great idea of having a fifth hook that's slightly behind that is like slack. So if the other 4 hooks fail, that it doesn't, that hopefully that last hook that is slack will catch it enough until I see it, so that it doesn't fall on the plant shelf, because that would be a disaster. Sorry if that changed, just needed to switch out the battery. My recent trip to the Botanic Gardens of Ireland, which I also did a kind of a simple, quiet, just to music walkthrough video. When I was going through, I just felt so inspired by the way that plants were arranged. And I really wanted to kind of apply some of those principles to this room. And a lot of that is going to be work in progress, I just know. But, you know, like having certain genuses in one area, certain, you know, groups of plants, like either epiphytes or, you know, tropical plants, ferns, like the way that they're kind of sectioned off into little areas and the way that they are displayed. So then I was thinking about my air plants, and I was thinking that would be the perfect display for the air plants in a semi-natural environment, not natural at all, but that is how they would be growing on branches in the wild. So that's what I wanted to do with this. So I don't have a lot of air plants. I think I had 3 at the time, or 2. The Spanish moss, Tillandsia osneoides, and the other curly one that I can't remember that I'll put on the screen. So I had those 2. So I did get a couple of more air plants. I showed them in a recent plant haul video. And I told you then that I had a plan for them. This was the plan. So I wanted to attach the air plants to the branch, and that's what I've done. So I'm hopefully showing you this process right now. So that's kind of the first thing, and I'm really, really happy with how it looks. I did have to get a bit of extra Spanish moss than what I had, because I felt like it just needed a bit more. It needed more draping, it needed all of that. So that's how I've done this, and it's been up for a couple of weeks now, and it's gone really well. So I'm very pleased with that addition. As far as other updates to the room, I do feel that it's a bit of a mess. I don't know how many of you are feeling this, but I haven't had a lot of time for my plants this summer, which is kind of, I wish I had more time, but I do think that when you have this many, it's just always limited. You know, the time that I've had has generally just been basic care. Treating for pests, making sure that they're watered, and anything that's like critically needs a new pot has gotten it, but most haven't. That has been made me feel a bit overwhelmed maybe, and it might be time to start thinking about cutting down my collection for next year. I'm not good at getting rid of plants, guys. I'm really not good at it at all. I just find it, I don't know. I just like to keep them when they're doing well, which, to be honest, the majority of my plants are doing well. It's very hard to get them out of that, because you're like, oh, but you're thriving, you know, you're doing pretty well in this space, and I've learned a lot. So I never really want to get rid of them. Anyway, that's a massive side note. A lot of the plants have been kind of on the ground or just like in interim spaces before I get them all set up. So a couple of things I wanted to do around, I did get these terracotta hooks, which I actually saw De La Plants use in her plant room, which is just absolutely gorgeous. If some of you don't follow her, you should. Her ladder is a thing of beauty. It really is a gorgeous plant room. So I saw those hooks from her channel, and so I wanted to get some, and I've put up one for my heartleaf philodendron, which is behind me over here, and that's gone really well. So I wanted to put up a couple of more of those to get plants up higher, again to use the upward space. So I've installed a couple of those, and I want to install more, which I'll probably do before the end of the video. And also I've kind of hang plants off the curtain rail as well on the window. And yeah, I like the way that looks. It lifts them all up. It just makes use of the space more, I feel. There's still a lot of plants on the floor, and I think that that will mainly be sorted out probably in the next video. And in that video, once I have kind of the structural elements of the plant room down, then I want to go through each shelf and I want to kind of rearrange based off plant. Like I do already do that with my plants. I do arrange them based off their light requirements or their heat and things like that, you know, like for example with the spider farmer light, anything that needs high light I usually put here. But I want to go through, it's time to go through each shelf, rearrange, rethink, kind of look at each plant, maybe think, is it time to get rid of one or two? So I think that the plants on the floor will hopefully be sorted through that process. And then I also have an old turtle tank. If some of you don't know, I do have a turtle, a yellow-bellied terrapin, and she is 17 years old now. She's an old girl. She's a big old girl. And we have her in a large tank downstairs. But one of her old tanks that we had just lying around, I thought I would make a kind of a terrarium out of. That has been on hold due to Irish weather because it involves collecting some plants from outdoors to use in that terrarium. It's large. There may be carnivorous plants involved, TBC. So that's kind of just sitting on the floor here because it's the warmest room. It's not ideal. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I need to make it before I do all of those things. So that's kind of it. It's really just about, yeah, like the branches, the rearranging. I've also, yes, I didn't actually speak about this, did this a long time ago. On each of the kind of poles of the shelf, which I'll do close-ups for, I've actually attached branches to those. I've attached branches to the kind of main shelf pole things. That is kind of aesthetic and practical at the same time, something new that I thought of. So it's aesthetic because it covers the silver, which I kind of hate. I kind of hate the silver. Back when I got these shelves, I was thinking of it as a kind of a temporary solution, and then it became a permanent solution. But I don't love the chrome. I don't like the look. It's not my kind of aesthetic. It's not kind of natural, and that was annoying me. So I was thinking, how can I make this look a bit better? But also to use the structural side of those poles for climbing plants. So I've used a plant Velcro that I have, and I've attached the branches to them. And that's worked pretty damn well. I have a few plants stuck to it now. My Monstera siltepecana is growing up. I also extended them as well. And I have my Philodendron Brazil as well behind me, which is starting to attach as well. So that's another update. What else? Oh, my coffee. My coffee's cold. Yeah, so that's most of the updates. The remaining update is this. You may have noticed this. I've been trying to hide it in the last couple of videos because I didn't want to do anything about it. I wanted to basically create a wall for my bigger plants, which are here, to be able to climb up the wall. Now, it is so tempting to just let them use the damn wall, but I don't know structurally what damage that might cause while we're here in this rented house. In our next house, which hopefully we will own, they will be climbing all over the damn walls. But for now, I was thinking of a kind of an interim solution to allow aerial roots, particularly my Philodendron sagittifolium, which was trying to climb on the walls and has incredibly long aerial roots now, and how to let them use the wall without using the wall, you know what I mean? Beautiful Caitlin from Plant Life in the Tropics has done something similar to this before, where she used cork board, these little squares. I think she had them in squares, and she attached them onto the wall, and they're like sticky on the back. And then she was training her plants to grow up them, and it worked pretty well for her. I wanted to do something similar to that. So I was looking for this cork board, which I want to in time make more aesthetically pleasing by maybe pinning in some branches and things like that, just to make it a bit more interesting, but we'll do that later. For now, I got these like long cork strips on Amazon. They have a sticky back to them as well, but I was too afraid of the sticky because I was reading reviews and I was seeing that the sticky is strong, and maybe it's too strong and maybe it might rip off all the paint. So that was annoying because the sticky's already there and I want to use it. But because I was too afraid to do that, I used command strips again, and I used the ones that are for like picture frames that we've used elsewhere in the house, and attached a couple of them to the back, and I've had that up for a while now. That was kind of a tester because they're not very cheap. I thought that they would be, but they're really not. I think they were like 25 or 30 euro per strip. So I decided to buy one first, see does it work, see does it stay up, and then buy the rest after. I'm not going to buy one to cover the whole area because I just think that's too expensive for a project like that. I don't want it to be. So I haven't bought enough to cover the whole thing, but the main areas will be covered. So I've had that up for a while. The middle part of it has kind of unstuck a bit, but I think I need to stick more command strips in that area just to secure it a little bit more, because over time it has kind of pulled away a bit, and see how that goes. I have quite a few plants over there that are ready. They're like way ready to start climbing. So I'm excited for that. That's kind of the last update to the room. What I'm going to do then is, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you around the plant room, which is my office, really. It's where I edit all my videos. It's where I work every day because I work from home. Unless I'm traveling and on field work doing surveys, I'll be working at home doing reports. And so I'll show you around the room. It's a little bit messy, but it's in progress. And I do think that it's kind of like a perfectionism thing where I don't want to show it to you until it's perfect. But it's not going to be perfect because that doesn't exist. So I will show you around. Let me know what you think of it, guys. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions along the lines of what I've already spoken about, then of course let me know. Maybe you'll have more suggestions on what to do in different areas of the room, how to arrange things better. A lot of you have said to me that you love watching people arrange their plants, and so this is the kind of video for you. I will film when I start rearranging them shelf by shelf, but this is just to show you my thinking, my thought process on how I've like kind of displayed my plants, I guess. And yeah, I'm really happy with like to have this big room with a giant window, to have my beautiful desk in my beautiful home with my beautiful plants, and everything is actually a dream come true. And I'm just absolutely in love with it. I feel instantly relaxed when I come into this room, despite it being where I do all my work. It's just such a pleasure to be in here, honestly, as messy as it is. And yeah, that's it. A lot of the plants are growing absolutely wild, which you're going to see in this footage. Absolutely wild. Some of them are just growing on the floor. They're growing through other things. It's just gone mad in here, and they've really enjoyed it despite them having very little care this summer. I will see you very soon for another video. I do have a Halloween video coming that I'm super excited about. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and enjoy your plants, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.